Today, we'll be meeting a number of people from the progressive left, also known as the woke left, and importantly, all the video clips I'm using are from people from the United States of America, and the reasons for this are twofold. Firstly, as a Brit, my opinions on America and American politics are worthless, but I thought for those watching over in the New World, it could be an interesting perspective from me on the outside looking in. And secondly, and more importantly, there's very little going on in the British news. It's all small boats and migrant hotels, and I've done those topics to death, or stories about the Labour government, and every one of those stories could go under the headline, "Dear God, what have they done now?" So instead, we'll meet members of the kind, caring, inclusive communities who preach peace and love, provided you agree with everything they say. And in my experience, the woke mob, they're like NPCs. They only have a few lines that they all parrot over and over. They're told what to be outraged by today. So we'll begin with a woman learning that actions have consequences.
So I need everybody to listen to this, because this is actually happening in this country. I knew my political beliefs might get me into trouble, but I didn't think it would get me fired from my job. The owner of the company is MAGA, and the operations manager, I'm out with pneumonia this week. My lungs are bad. I have a doctor's note, and I got a letter saying I was fired. But they have been on to me about my political posts. And the owner of the company is a horrific human being, and the operations manager is following in his footsteps. But this is what's happening in this fucking country right now.
Opening with, I knew my political beliefs might get me into trouble. So she was aware of the issue, but whatever she was doing, she then continued to do it anyway. To me, that is akin to going to the zoo, dangling one's leg into the crocodile enclosure, and then, when you get out of hospital, complaining that for the rest of your life you're going to have to hop everywhere. The owner and the operations manager are MAGA, and then she mentions her pneumonia. How are those two things interconnected? I wasn't aware that being around men in red baseball caps who may or may not fly the stars and stripes off the back of their pickup trucks triggered lung disorders. Then she gets a letter explaining that she's been fired. But if she turns up at work every day and works to the best of her abilities, surely that would be illegal. However, if she's turning up, spouting her political beliefs in a way that offends her boss, her co-workers, or if it is retail, her customers, then yeah, let her go. In fact, I'm no lawyer, but I would say, even if you're on social media, spouting political beliefs, if you've listed your employer on your Facebook page, then that will land you in hot water. But the most striking thing for me is there's no context given. She doesn't state what any of her political beliefs are, even though we can all guess them, or why she's been fired. It may be that she's got long-term health problems, she's been on the sick for too long, and they've let her go. It could also be that every lunch break she's out in the car park burning the stars and stripes. Next up, someone who should be sacked.
One of my favorite parts of working at a vape shop is that I get to see all your IDs, so I see where you come from and shit like that, and then you give me your phone numbers for a little rewards program. I learn a lot about you in those moments. I love when people come in, and a lot of IDs now are like in Hebrew, like they're from Israel, you get what I'm saying? And I'll actually ask, if I hear the accent, I'll be like, where are you from? Waiting on it. And then you say Israel, and I go, put your items to the side, and I say, Free Palestine. And I wait. Free Palestine. A lot of the time they'll be like, Free Palestine. Like, yes. And then I'll make the sale. Okay. But I still haven't gotten the one that's like, what the fuck did you say? So I'm waiting on that, when we can actually argue. But it's just like a fun little part of my job. I enjoy it. I like to make you guys uncomfortable. It's like my favorite pastime.
First up, that she is checking customers' IDs with anything other than ascertaining whether or not said customer can legally purchase the items they want to from the shop. That's a massive overreach. Because, love, you are not a police officer or a fucking spy. You're a tubby, irritating, virtue signalling nobody who works in a shop. And then she throws in her personal politics, free Palestine, and then waits. How fucking smug. Now, as a man, I would never strike a woman, but in that situation, I would go out and find a woman to strike her on my behalf. And surely it cannot be legal for her to withhold sale because she doesn't like the customer. If she owned the business, then yes, maybe, but I'm guessing she isn't, and I'm praying that whoever employs her sees that video, because I will bet money in the interview, when she was asked, why do you want this job, she didn't say, because I want to argue with the Jews. Next up, the other obsession with the woke far left, President Donald Trump.
Formally casting my spell on Donald Trump. Actually, it's not even a spell, it's a curse. I curse you, Donald Trump, and the curse is your youngest son, Barron Trump, will become a liberal. He will become a leftist, liberal lunatic. He will also come out as a homosexual in 5 years. This is me formally...
I've often wondered what happened to the chef from Disney Pixar's Ratatouille. It transpires he's left gay Paris and moved to America, where he's become intensely annoying, something of an absolute wank puffin whilst dabbling in the dark arts of the occult. I am terrified of the magical abilities of this warlock, and his curse that Trump's youngest son will become a liberal leftist lunatic who will also come out as a homosexual. It's all projection, he's just describing himself. As a Brit, when Trump lost the election to Biden, and there were accusations that the election had been stolen, which built up to January 6th, or the 6th of January, if you want to use the King's English, I remember seeing that on the news and thinking, oh, the Trump supporters, some of them have gone mad. It now transpires that liberals are trying to get in on the action.
So there's a video that's pinned with pictures, screenshots, of how the raffle was rigged, how they did it, and she won bigly, not small. She won by a very wide margin. It didn't even come close. Go look at that and go read that. It's very important for people to get this information, but this is how they're suppressing us. This is how they're suppressing us. I posted a comment on New York bus passes. Okay, something very benign. They flagged that. They couldn't flag nothing else. It was just very benign. It was a picture of bus passes from the 80s. They flagged me and it stopped the views of that one. So if you can, go watch the pinned one. Read it. Read each page because I screenshot everything. Read how they did it. It's fucked up.
Okay, so she has neither septum piercing, massive glasses, other facial piercings, or bright blue hair. So that's a promising start. But then she mentions a video with screenshots that proves the election was rigged, but doesn't include a link. It's not a great start. And the comment, go back and read it, when there isn't a link, it sort of undermines the argument. And was the post about bus passes from the 1980s intercepted by the FBI, the CIA, Mossad, the Illuminati, the fucking aliens, or did some AI bot realise that no one gave a shit and just got rid of it? Because the claim that Kamala Harris won the election with no evidence sounds a bit bullshitty. It's like me saying, do you remember when I was the first man on the moon just before Neil Armstrong? Oh, there's no evidence. Yes, because the authorities got rid of the footage. Grow the fuck up.
Don't ever fuck with the line cook. Yesterday I was working front of house and I was insulted by a mean customer who insulted my intelligence and called me stupid, along with everybody else in our store, to which, after he left, the response from our line cooks was to go and find his first and last name and phone number in our point of sale system. Use that to find where he lived, find how he voted, find the previous places that he had worked before he inevitably retired, found his kids' names, and yes, sir, he did find your wife on Facebook. My line cook is gonna fuck your wife.
Now we're talking. Massive septum piercing, blue hair, and a fringe that she's clearly cut herself. So a customer comes in, no context is given, but he's rude. And forgive me if I'm wrong, she doesn't come across as calm and rational. But what the fuck did her line chef do before donning his apron? It sounds like he's Steven Seagal in Under Siege. What undercover Black Ops shit has he been involved in? Although, thinking about it rationally, most of that information is freely available on many people's Facebook profiles. So, this chef, essentially, to get vengeance for his staff, wants to have sex with... Given that the customer is a pensioner, it's safe to assume his wife is a similar age, he wants to go and fuck an old woman. That says more about him than the situation. He's looking for a gilf. A granny I'd like to fuck. The absolute asininity of the people we've seen is mind-blowing. And I use that word because woke lefties won't know what it means. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like, a comment, or share the video, that really helps me with the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos, and thank you to everyone who's already done so, there are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. First up, what camera angle is that? She's filming from here. Why? Why? If she's turned up to work every day and done her job to the best of her abilities, then shit the fuck bollocks. So why is it that nah. I'll leave that. I was about to make a political statement. I got in trouble earlier this week. I've often wondered what happened to the chef from Ratatouille. Well, fuck it. Oh, piss off, Biggles. Now we're talking. Blue hair that she's cut herself, septum piercing, I bet her undercarriage smells like a fish market on a hot day and looks like a vandalised bus seat. I'm so fucking grey. I think over the weekend I'll be going, in the words of Amy Winehouse, back to black.